Hello, and welcome in you guys to another One Piece video. Today, we are here for the post-game show for chapter 1173. In case this is your first time tuning in one of these, what we like to do here is that we like to go through the comment section of the past video just to see what everybody's talking about. The theories, discussions, the opinions. We're here for all of it, guys. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. Top comment today, let's see what we got here. The intro changeup is killing me. Yeah, you know, when it comes to these intros, I've been having some fun with them. But I lie awake every night just knowing that one day the intros will always just be the same. I mean, that's just how it is, right? How many chapters do we have left of One Piece? 200? 300 maybe? At the max? Brother, there's no way I can come up with 300 intros. Eventually, I'm gonna let you guys down. And today, that's exactly what I did. Sorry, guys. Somebody had to do it. It had to happen at some point. So, next comment says, Brook came at us like a Twilight vampire for a second there in the first seconds of the video. It was good, man. That's not what I was going for, but it kind of just happened. It went from Usopp's arc to Brook, go handle Emu real fast. Hey, yes, Brook is looking great. Nobody can deny that. But hear me out. Maybe I'm just delusional, but I haven't given up on Usopp. And when it comes to One Piece arcs, they're so girthy, they're so lengthy, that many Straw Hats, not just Brook, can have a time in the spotlight. I would argue that before Brook took it, this was kind of Rocksteady's Beck's arc. And before that, oh my god, Robin looked great. The scene with her and Saul, that was heartbreaking. Well, heartwarming, not heartbreaking. So, yeah, you know, Brook is looking good here. He's probably going to look good for the next 10 or so chapters with the Gunko flashback. But I do think that there will still be room for Usopp. I have not lost hope. There's enough at the table for everybody, brother. I thought Brook was going to have a wholesome moment with Gunko. Whole time, he didn't ever want to see her again. Yeah, crazy switch up, man. And it's surprising that he didn't ever want to think of her ever again, simply because I feel like anybody in that situation would want revenge. Like, hey, there's a girl out there who killed the person you owe your life to. Why not go after her? Maybe there's a reason why. Maybe she was protected by the Holy Land. Because that is one of the things he more or less said. Oh, Shuri has blue hair, mismatched eyes, and a connection to the Holy Land. Maybe the Holy Land was protecting her so well that Brook knew that it would be fruitless to go after her. That could be it. That could be it. And yeah, you know, when it comes to the whole switch up, I thought it was just hilarious. But of course, even in this latest chapter, Brook is realizing something is awry. Because the minute Gunko released the arrows, he was like, wait a minute, why did you do that? Who are you? So yes, I think he's gonna come to the realization that he might have had the wrong interpretation of that event pretty soon. You know, I feel like Shuri might just say, hey, Brook, I didn't do it. It's this other person inside of me. I was controlled. Brook, please, please, please. And another thing I want to bring up is that odd line, right? Connection to the Holy Land. That could mean so many things. And that's more or less why I didn't go too deep into it in my last video. Because that could simply mean that Gunko was a Manmayer. She always has been. She is a Celestial Dragon from birth. That is plausible. Or maybe the Manmayers were eyeing Princess Shuri early on, and that was the connection to the Holy Land. Maybe it's just a kingdom that was affiliated with the Holy Land, which we know happens pretty often. I mean, hell, look at the Reverie. Those guys all show up. None of them are among the 20. And then another way to look at it is that perhaps, if we want to go extreme on this one, we could say that back in the day, Gunko already was God's steel, and she had the Mark of the Abyss at the early age of 10 or 15 or whenever that flashback takes place. That could be it too. It's left very up in the air. Sanji's best moments involve protecting women. Meanwhile, Brook's best moments involve getting in fights with them. You're so right. Hey, somebody has to do it. At some point, we need a man on the crew that can just whoop a woman. And Brook is seemingly that guy. We could say Zoro, but not even Zoro really does anything when he fights women. Tashigi, key example. Monet, another key example. And even in film Z, Zoro fights a girl named Ainz, I think? Yeah, Ainz. And instead of cutting her, He does the same thing he did to Monet where he's like, ha, and then she just passes out due to the pressure or the back of the blade. He doesn't like cutting women. Sanji doesn't like beating him. Somebody has to be the dedicated women beater. And it's Brook. You know, Brook fought the girls in Wano. He fought Big Mom for a little bit, and now he's fighting Gunko. Thank you, Brook. Taking one for the team. Hey, he could just drop a line where he said, oh, it was different back in the day. 90 years ago, we all did it, man. Come on. That sounds crazy. Absolutely absurd Brook upscale. People say, in a one-on-one fight, always bet on Brook. Is that what they've been saying? Is that the new line on the block? Yeah, Brook looks good, especially because when Imu attacks Brook, dude, you see the black lightning. You know, this isn't just like a basic arrow attack. It's not a basic knee. No. This is laden in hockey. Whether it's Conquer's hockey or not, that's debatable, sure. But either way, man, this is insane Brook upscale. And the thing is, too, Brook doesn't even specialize with shields. Brother, that is a shield he got randomly here in Elbaph. Brook has never used a shield before. It's not like his sword where it's named and everything. No. This is just a random piece of wood and steel that he got here in Elbaph. Must be an Atomwood upscale, too, at that point. But yeah, you know, when it comes to the Brook fight, I think he'll look good, but I do wonder how long he'll look good. It could be like a Big Mom situation where, yes, he comes in, lands a good hit on Prometheus or Zeus, and then after that, Big Mom beats him. I think the same thing could happen here, where yes, he's doing well for a little bit, but at the end of the day, this is Imu we're talking about. That's a tough one. Yeah, it really depends on if Princess Shuri is fighting Imu back really hard. Like maybe Imu's going in for the kill. Imu's about to chop his head off, but here comes Princess Shuri jumping in and stopping Imu. I guess that's going to be the main deciding factor there. Another factor are the Straw Hats around Brook. Of course, you know, we're talking about Brook upscale alone, but if the Straw Hats come in and assist Brook like Jinbei, Usopp, or Nami, then that could be big as well. The only person that can't jump in there, of course, would probably just be Sanji, but yeah, we all expect Sanji to go somewhere else, like St. Smers. This says, I didn't expect Brook to be the first Straw Hat to clash with Imu, but I'm here for it. Oh, you're right. Brook is the first Straw Hat to clash with Imu. No, yeah. Because the other Straw Hats, they fought Gunko. Not the same, though. Yeah. Huh. Damn. That's kind of aura, huh? I do wonder if Brook might know something about Imu as well. You know, going back to the flashback part, Brook is so old, anything can be plausible. So for all we know, he could just drop a one-liner like, oh yeah, you know, I heard rumors about somebody up on the throne. Oh yeah, Gunko mentioned a weirdo with butterflies. I love that. You know, it goes back to the whole thing where it's like, yeah, we don't know a lot about some of these Straw Hats, man. They could just drop random lore out of nowhere. It's like the whole thing about Frankie knowing Odin and Roger. Like, he saw those guys there, never mentioned it at Water 7. Could be the same here. Gunko's dad was a previous user of the Ope Ope no Mi. He granted her eternal youth to save her from some unknown reason. But Brook still blames Gunko for his death. I don't know if I'd like this. If Brook knows that Gunko's dad gave his life to save the daughter or sacrificed his life to give his daughter eternal youth, I feel like that's something a lot of people should vibe with. You might not agree with it, but you can respect it. Like, oh yeah, that's my kid. Of course I'd want them to live forever. I feel like if Brook saw that and if he knew all of that, he'd be fine with it. I'm gonna say Brook is entirely left in the dark about this. As far as the Ope Ope no Mi, I think this could play a major role. This could very easily explain why Gunko has stayed youthful this entire time, whereas the rest of the God Knights have been aging. And yes, you know, going back to the whole world government angle, they were looking for the Ope Ope no Mi when Law ate it. It had a 5 billion berry bounty. So they probably just did the same thing in the past, where they're like, hey, if you guys find the fruit, 5 billion. Maybe Gunko's dad had it and they wanted to get it from him, and then he gave it to his daughter via the Eternal Youth Surgery. Or perhaps Imu had it and they're like, hey, I really like Gunko. I'm just gonna get somebody to use the Eternal Youth Surgery on her to keep her around. There's a lot of ways we could spin the Ope Ope no Mi into the story. This says, Brook has done nothing since Whole Cake Island. Also Brook, Imu Let me solo her. Hey, he has no idea it's Emu though, right? In Brook's mind, this is Princess Shuri he is fighting. This is the end of the chapter where Smers' reaction to the ship being destroyed was funny as hell. It was good. Yet it's gotten to the point where it's not just me, but a lot of people online, they don't even want Smers to die anymore. Remember that? We were like, oh, you know, a God Knight dying really affected Emu. Emu felt that a little bit. So much so that he didn't want to send more God Knights to Elbaph. Maybe a God Knight dies here, and then Emu just goes back home. We're at the point where we've kind of been, I wouldn't say Stockholm syndromed into liking Saint Smers, but we're at the point where a lot of people are like, hey, you know, he's kind of funny, man. You know, hey, he's the life of the party, guys. Hopefully, he gets some good feats next chapter. I think that's what everybody's just waiting for him to win a fight and look cool. Yeah, he beat Saul. Yeah, he beat fathers and kids and just innocent slaves. But we need to see this guy fight somebody substantial and win. And hey, next chapter, he could be running the gauntlet against a lot of decent fighters. You know, there's Ripley, there's Oimo, Goldberg, Gerd, Roto, and whoever else shows up. We know that Chopper and Scopper want to go save the kids. Nami wants to save the kids. If he wins those battles, he might be looking pretty good. As far as Scopper goes, obviously he'd lose to him, but Scopper is weakened right now. You know, Scopper did take some blows. He's being healed by Chopper. So maybe this is when Saint Smers takes a W. Yes, he's able to beat a nerfed Scopper Gaban. Maybe. I'm sorry, Smers, but due to your recent performance at the workplace today, we're going to have to let you go. Emu to Smers, probably. I hope not. Like I said, I love this guy, man. And with how the world is right now, I don't think they could just eliminate Smers and just call it a day. Unless they have a lot of God's steel out there in the world waiting for a promotion, I can't imagine them getting rid of Smers. He has been on the force for at least 40 years. Been there since God Valley. Guys, he's definitely messed up so many times, and Emu probably just laughs at him too. Emu is like us. They see Saint Smers flubbing, and they're like, you know what? It's just another Tuesday. Is Dark Nika a sign that Nika, the Destroyer, was actually Nika in Domi reversi? Oh, that's not a bad idea. You know, it's funny because coming into Elbaph, a lot of people, when we heard about Nika the Destroyer, that was a top candidate for Loki's Devil Fruit. And I think people still generally like that idea, even though, you know, the narrative has shifted to Nidhogg and Fenrir. But Nika being a destroyer is still a really big probability for any other Devil Fruit or just an event that happened in the past. There's gotta be a reason why people think that Nika is a bad guy, a destroyer. So maybe that's the case. Maybe Nika in the past did get Domi reversi, whether it's Joy Boy or the OG Nika. It could have happened. I do like this idea. Haven't even thought about that one. This says, cover request implies that the reason why Luffy is still not here in this chapter is because he's distracted by a rhinoceros again. I mean, the thing is that Luffy does love beetles. You know, going back to Jaya. In Jaya, we can't forget Chopper. One of the most foulest panels out. Maybe not foul. Yeah, that's the wrong word. That's a little bit extreme. But one of the craziest questions ever asked was, hey, Luffy, which one do you want more? The One Piece, the treasure that Gold Roger found, or a beetle? And Luffy literally like sat there. He said, man, that's a tough one. I don't even know. The One Piece and a beetle. You ask that to anybody else, the One Piece would just be the obvious answer. But to Luffy, that beetle really did get hung up in his mind. And I always just go back to that. And hey, maybe that's it. You know, maybe they did find a giant rhinoceros beetle and Luffy got distracted. But the thing is that even if Luffy got distracted, why would Loki be there too? You know, it's not just Luffy that's missing, it's Loki as well. So maybe Loki also likes beetles? Who knows? But like I mentioned in the previous video, I do like the idea of another faction rolling up to Elbaph to raise the stakes, to add in more, you know, wackiness with the plot points. And we don't know what's going on outside in the world of One Piece right now. Time dilation is still a really big theory that I think a lot of people generally believe in. I'll probably hold a poll on that later. But I do think a lot of people like the time dilation theory, and why Louis Arnaud said, hey, don't linger here for too long. If another faction showed up, we could see the progression of time firsthand. Like imagine Buggy shows up, and Buggy's a little bit older, like a week or two older. And he's like, yep, I got 3 poneglyphs now. You know, I got Wano's, I got Zoe's, I got Whole Cake Island. We just need one more. We need to go to the man with the burn scar. And it's like, whoa, wait, what? He did all that in one day? How's that possible? I think that'd just be a lot of fun. Maybe even the Grand Fleet shows up and they're like, hey, Luffy, we saw that you were stuck on an island for like quite some time, so we decided to come by too. There's a lot of ways time dilation could just make seeing other characters a lot of fun. Just seeing how they grew while we were stuck here. This says, the Domi reversi condition will probably require the good guys to be on either side of the flip giants and declare reversi or something similar. Oh, yeah, saying it out loud? Huh, this is a really good idea. You know, I was always on the boat that you'd have to manually flip them like reversi pieces because one side is black, one is white. Yes, you flip them through force. But maybe this is it. Yeah, because, you know, thinking back to a lot of kid games or just games in general, typically you do call out some sort of word. This might be the strangest example, but go fish. Go fish, go fish. Sorry, sorry. You know, reversi, screaming that out might actually be the key. I wouldn't hate that. How would we figure this out? That's beyond me. But yeah, I do like this a lot, brother. That is a really nice one. This is God Knights being the comedy villain similar to Team Rocket in Pokemon. Yeah, get blasted away, coming in for the gags. It's a fun time with the men. Hey, everybody likes Team Rocket. I did. I always love Jesse and James. Meow, not so much, but Jesse and James, king stuff. I can't believe the Ange is evil theory is almost a year old. Dude, ever since we met Ange, the theories have been coming out. You know, hey, ever since we first saw her grace the page, I was on board the Ange is evil theory. You know, people are like, oh, it's because of the nightmares. It's blah, blah, blah. No. Yes, those are good points, but it spawned the minute we saw her. The minute I saw those cheeks, I said, she's a bad person. I know it. She didn't even have a lot of dialogue. And I was just rubbing my chin. It's like, suspicious. In a one-on-one fight, always bet on Brook. Usopp's Mind Beam is foreshadowing his advanced observation haki like Shanks during Wano. Yeah, I mean, we do know that Usopp will get some sort of crazy observation power. I mean, hell, in film Red, he was able to link eyes with his dad. I don't know if that was haki, but it happened. You know, obviously it's not canon, but we do have to remember that Oda does work on some aspects of these movies, so we definitely saw it. So maybe this is a foreshadowing moment. We get the Usopp Mind Beam coming in. He can see your soul with his observation haki. It's specialized. Nami might assist in the saving of the kids. Jinbei goes to extinguish the library. Yeah, the resident firefighter. Usopp goes to help the Domi reversi giants. I agree. I think when it comes to these characters, this is where I would put them. So I am on board with that. This says Zoro is playing checkers while everybody is playing reversi. You don't even say chess, just checkers. Yeah. Oh yeah, one more thing with this too. I know it's like a meme of Jinbei extinguishing the library, but there is water nearby. You know, recall the positioning of the library of the school. It's in the middle of a lake. That is Jinbei's home turf, dude. Yeah, he's gonna do it. Because being honest, man, when we think about Elbaph matchups, I think nobody has really thought about who Jinbei 1v1s. It's always Luffy, Loki, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp even. Jinbei, man, he's getting tossed to the wayside. You know, he's becoming the new Brook, where we're waiting for feats. Like, any day now we're gonna get a really nice Jinbei moment, where he's not putting out fires. This says Roger and Garp didn't kill Rox, and that is true. I would say it's primarily Emu. But at the end of the day, they still had to really beat Rox down to undo Domi reversi. So when it comes to that, I just can't see Zoro or Luffy or Loki just beating the hell out of Dory and Brogy to save them. I don't know. It feels almost counterintuitive, but that's the only way we know on how to beat reversi right now, which is why I do like the idea of just finding something else entirely for it. This says, so it seems that Gunko isn't even her real name. It seems her real first name was Shuri. Maybe she did something that resulted in her seemingly or actually killing her father, the later king. Maybe his death earned her a spot in the Celestial Dragons, where she was adopted into the Manmayers and was renamed Gunko. Possibly. I do think killing her father was a key step, but I don't know if she did it willingly. Because, like I said, there's a panel where she's crying out for her dad. If she was doing this because she's nefarious and she wants a spot as a Celestial Dragon, cover up those tears, brother. You know, yeah, lock in, man. So that's a really tough one. But yeah, there's just a lot of mystery around Gunko. As far as her losing her memories, I think that's also a really big question mark. Like, how does she not have any memories of what happened until she saw Brook? Is it because Imu wiped her memories via the Abyss contract? Is there a brainwashing method in the Holy Land, like you tortured them to hell and back? Or did they have Pudding's devil fruit on hand? You know, before Pudding was there, you know, gotta imagine, Gunko is way older than Pudding, so there's gotta be a previous user out there. Maybe we had the previous user clip the memories out. That could be possible. This says, the Yasop face freeze frame. Dude, when you talk about dads in One Piece, you always gotta bring up Yasop. I never realized that Sai was standing and doing this video. I stand during a lot of these videos, actually. I mean, it's more of a recent change, but I really enjoy just stretching my legs, moving around a little bit. I feel like I have more freedom just out here, you know? And I think it's good for my health too, you know? Sitting down and doing videos is cool and all, it's relaxing, but it's like, yeah, let me stand up a little bit more, you know, get the blood flowing. I don't want to die in my chair. The two-toned eyes are important to Imu's connection to Shuri. Yeah, we have no idea what the eyes do yet. I think the main thing right now is that we know that it's potentially from her birth, but, you know, when it comes to eyes in One Piece, maybe Oda will start tackling ocular powers more. And because she has those mismatched eyes, that is the reason why Imu's able to tap into her a lot easier. Don't know yet. Do not know. Brook, learning the fade with Imu is an unthinkable feat. Bro would essentially be fighting the final boss. He is. Even though the final boss is nerfed, still the final boss. You are correct. Maybe the Davyback fights were a sort of hidden training for battling Imu with his strange abilities. I like this. When it comes to Imu, I think that they're going to be very sophisticated. Okay, that might not be the right word, but I think they like a lot of board games. Reversi being one of them. Maybe they whip out Go. Maybe they whip out shogi, chess, checkers, etc. And Davyback fights feel like the opposite, where they're more physical. The Groggy Ring, for example. There's another game where you sail around an island. You have a 1v1. It feels like Davyback fights are almost the antithesis of Imu, and I feel like that could be the key aspect. Like, yes, we specialize in these games. Imu specializes in that, and maybe that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to get Imu on their terms so that they could beat them. Yeah, I feel like Imu just might be a scholar. You know, I think that's a good way to put it. Imu might have been a scholar back in the day, fighting a lot of barbarians. And the Davyback fights versus Imu's reversi game could be a key example of how stark the difference was in the past. This is loving the Brook hype, about damn time. Yo ho ho. Now, where is Frankie at? Dude, Frankie's MIA, man. I don't get where Frankie could be. Like, literally, last we saw, hey, let's go save the kids. Ripley says, Frankie, I'm right behind you. Where's Frankie now? We've seen Ripley. We've seen Ripley multiple times. No Frankie. What's going on? Where could he possibly go? Who knows, brother? Maybe he's getting the 1,000 Sunny ready to chase the God Knights if they leave? I don't know. That's so tough. That's so tough. Okay, last few comments, but this one says, maybe that time Sabo got hurt by Imu, it was actually Gunko. Yep, this is a reoccurring theory. I feel like every now and then somebody will just bring this back up. The arrow attack that hit King Cobra, that hit Sabo, that does look like Gunko's arrow, but we didn't see Gunko in the room. She could be behind Imu. Maybe Imu has those powers, or it could go back to like one of the OG theories where it's like, oh, Imu has a devil tail, and that's what hurt them, which Imu does have a devil tail here, and it is kind of similar, so that could also be plausible. Again, this is a theory that gets brought up pretty often. This says Brook is going to pull out a Bankai or something this arc. He needs an awakening. I don't know if you guys saw the fan art that was floating around on Twitter, but somebody had like a Brook awakening panel. It was a fake one, obviously, but it had like Gold Roger, Whitebeard, rocks in the background, and it's just their souls coming back for like a fight. And I really like that. You know, when it comes to Brook's awakening, because he has the revive fruit, yes, he should theoretically be able to bring back dead people for a little bit. Even if they're nerfed, even if it's just their souls, it should be possible. I really hope Brook does awaken. I think that'd be super sick. And there's just so much potential with that ability, man. Like, even to just talk to somebody who was dead. Huge. Oh, maybe that's how we get the Void Century lore. Like, hey, let's bring back Joy Boy for a little bit. Let's talk to him. Ooh, let's talk to Gold Roger. That's more of a weird one, but yeah, like, we could just talk to somebody who's been gone for a while. I do not think that'd be bad whatsoever. And of course, we could nerf it. You know, if that's too good of an ability, you could easily nerf it. Like, oh, Brook can only use it for 2 minutes, and then they gotta go, right? Kind of like Loki's flashback. Loki's flashback is 3 minutes long. We could just get something like that and then call it a day. So next, this is, can't believe it's already been a year since the And is Evil theory, brother. Yeah, it's been a minute, dude. You know, time freaking flies. It looks like Zoro dodged and landed between Dory and Brogy. Does it look like he's starting to turn in that panel? So, I agree with this first part. I do think it looks like he's going to fall in between everybody. But as far as him turning, I'm not too sure. You're referring to the panel where he says, huh? But I feel like he's saying, huh? Because Dory and Brogy chopped each other in half. You know, Zoro has not witnessed regeneration yet. It's not like the other Straw Hats where they saw Saint Smers get cut in half and he regenerated. Zoro, this is the first time witnessing it with good friends of his, Dory and Brogy. So I think that's why he said, huh? As far as him turning next chapter, though, that could happen. I'm not going to say it's 0% because we still do not know exactly how Domi reversi works. Who does it affect? Who doesn't it affect? What are the real rules behind just being in the middle and being flipped? I think next chapter we could find out more about this. And I'm excited. You know, Domi reversi Zoro would be absolutely crazy. The King of Hell being turned into a Hell spawn. That'd be something to witness. But that being said, though, guys, that is it for today. Let me know your thoughts about this chapter down below. Of course, 1174 is right around the corner, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully, you guys had a great time here. Thank you so much for commenting in the previous video. Again, we would not be able to do these videos right here and have this discussion if you guys didn't tune in to the prior one. You guys take care. Stay safe. Until the next video. Peace.